Now to an I-Team investigation into a vaccine for young girls that's causing concern.
You may have heard of it. It's called Gardasil. It's designed to prevent cervical cancer. And the FDA's approval triggered efforts across the nation to mandate it for 11 and 12-year-old girls. Tonight, Chief Investigative Reporter Michelle Gillen begins a series of I-Team reports, bringing into focus this vaccine concern.
Since she was a baby and could first walk, Brittany loved to run and never stopped. But today it takes all her strength to just not fall. Seemingly in a moment's time, Brittany's left leg became paralyzed, her ankle swinging like a rag doll's. Even with a shoe brace, she walks with a limp.
I can't. It's hard for me to lift it up.
You just can't lift it up.
The nightmare and mystery of what happened to Brittany began 6 months ago.
She's screaming, "Mom, help me." I was sitting out on the porch and was looking through the door at her and watched her fall, and I was like, and she kind of just crawled to her bedroom.
Horrified at the sight of her daughter laying on the floor, unable to move her leg, Christina Bell immediately called Brittany's pediatrician, who they had visited just 2 weeks before to have a tetanus shot. It was then, she says,
The doctor recommended we getting the Gardasil shot, and I said okay.
Gardasil, a first-of-its-kind vaccine approved by the FDA for girls as young as 9, and is headlined on the FDA website, "New Vaccine Prevents Cervical Cancer." You too may have seen the commercials.
I want to tell someone that I love. I want to tell my daughter. Tell someone.
In trials, the vaccine was shown to prevent precancerous lesions due to certain types of human papillomavirus, HPV. In searching for answers as to why her daughter now suffered from a limb paralysis, Christina Bell says she couldn't shake the idea it might somehow be tied to the HPV vaccine. She hasn't found a doctor to agree with her, including the pediatrician who recommended the shot.
He doesn't believe it has anything to do with the shot at all.
She says he stopped returning her calls, and when we called him, he never called us back. She began to research the vaccine, and what she found startled her. These government-compiled reports, filed from around the country, of adverse events that occurred sometimes within hours, other times within weeks, of a Gardasil vaccination. They do not prove a link, but rather document that some adverse event occurred following an injection, and it was reported to VAERS, a federal vaccine reporting system.
Paralysis, convulsions, seizures in young girls. Very, very scary, very unfortunate.
Irene Garcia is a spokesperson for Judicial Watch, a government watchdog group that got these records from the FDA through the Freedom of Information Act and posted them on the internet.
When the data was finally released, what did you think when you started reading it?
Outrage. It was outrage because all that I had seen publicly in the media and on television and from pediatricians was positive.
Last February, the FDA told me it was investigating reports of 13 deaths following an HPV vaccination, but was confident that none were tied to the vaccine, and that reports of adverse events were under review, but not considered anything out of the ordinary. An FDA spokeswoman told me this week that she could not provide us an update on the number of reports, including deaths, because, quote, "I haven't seen updated numbers for several months. We monitor on a daily basis, but we don't total it up. We are not seeing a problem."
Are physicians mandated by any law to have to report a suspected reaction?
It varies by state, and there's no blanket federal law, unfortunately.
Brittany's mom says she can't find a doctor willing to report an adverse reaction following the administration of her daughter's vaccines. We informed her that parents, just like doctors, can report an adverse reaction, and the Bell family has done just that.
It might always be that people will say, you can't prove that this is linked.
I'm still going to speak and tell everybody what I think. I tell everybody.
What do you want today?
What do I want today? I want my dog back to normal.
Now, we have repeatedly requested an on-camera interview or phone interview with a representative of the manufacturer of Gardasil, Merck. They've responded with a statement that includes the following. Merck actively monitors adverse event databases throughout the world, including the U.S. Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. Merck has distributed more than 26 million doses and will continue to evaluate all reports. Encourages healthcare providers and consumers to report any potential adverse experiences to the company and to VAERS. As we mentioned in our story, that system is voluntary. And for the full statement from Merck, please go to CBS4.com. And tomorrow night, we're going to tell you why Merck cannot be sued for any alleged adverse reactions to this vaccine. And we'll talk to a local doctor who gives it nothing but rave reviews. So it's obviously, it's an important story. It touches the lives of so many families. And over these next weeks, we're going to look at everything from the science to the money to the hope involved, and hopefully sort out a lot of those questions and those concerns.
That's good, because really parents are in such a dangerous situation. You don't know, you want to protect your child, but you don't want to do something that could hurt them, obviously.
And information is the best way to begin.
That's true.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks.